Hi folks, welcome to Barry's Bench, episode number 2 for the pizza shop build. So today we're going to start by working on the interior, but what I want to show you is the completed result from the first episode. Here's our building walls assembled with the floor. In the rear here, something to note, the door is slightly recessed. What I did is printed a second copy of the wall, and I cut the door out of the first wall, and then you make you cut it out on the second piece like this, and then glue it in from behind the cutout. And again, I use my colored pencils to color around the edges of the opening so you don't see them. Same here on the edge of the brick wall. And here, I use my colored pencils to match the brick. I use like a reddish color for the brick here, a grayish color to match the transom here on the floor. So, this is all glued together with Aleene's tacky glue. Sets up nice and fast. Doesn't need much in the way of clamping or taping to hold it together. You have to be real careful using tape to hold anything like this together, and especially in exposed spots. So to start with this, what we'll do is we're going to cut out the interior, but that'll be the last part. First thing we want to do is work on this wall here, which is the counter wall, which sits maybe here on the floor. Here's our countertop. So we'll have to make a bend along this line. And so this will be the front edge, this is the top surface, and that fits right in here. What we want to do, because this is going to be the metal wall in the front, this part right here slopes forward and it fits in the building here. You want to take and make a cut down both sides, maybe this far in on both sides, and then come down to here, and then cut a piece out here like this. And what you can do then is this will fold in, and these two sides will fold in. And you don't have to do it on the top piece, but if you do the two sides, when you look in, you'll see the thickness of the wall here and here, and then this piece, when bent down, gives you a surface to glue to the bottom of the countertop and secure it in place here. And then we want to leave a little bit of extra on the side here, and down this side and the top as a tab to glue to the walls and the ceiling once it's put in place. There's already a tab on the floor there. So let's start. We'll cut out our countertop here. Now you'll see what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave a little bit of extra. Alright. The reason being for that is to make a narrow fold like this is very difficult without having some extra material. So I want to leave extra material there to make the bend. Then once I've bent it, I will take it and cut it off. So again, we've got a nice sharp new blade. We'll put our blade on the edge of the material and line up our rule. Alright, and then make our cut. Alright. Just make sure this one's not in the portion. Make sure I got that all the way through. Yeah, see? That's why I check sometimes, because sometimes it's not all the way through. There we go. I'll do this one again. There, I can hear that's loose now. Alright. Now, since these aren't quite as critical and they're smaller, what I'll do is I will hand cut these. Line up nice. Just take your time. Okay. And sometimes you go astray, so if you feel the need, you can use the rulers. Usually for these smaller cuts, I just do it like this. See, I didn't cut all the way through there, but that's easy enough to do. Same here. Alright, so we have our countertop cut out. Now, you might need to take a pen and then just find your spot right here. If you can, it's hard to tell. What I'm going to do is line this up this way real quick and do an initial fold up here like this. I'm going to lift it up. So that gives me my fold mark, and then I can go on the back side, lay it down. Because it's hard to transfer the fold marks from the front to the back. So if I do it this way, then make sure I'm lined up with the fold line. Then I can lift it up like that. And then we'll make make sure we get a nice rub on there to get a nice crisp end. And then we'll crease it like so. Now we got the front edge of our counter. We'll gently flatten that out, and we'll take our ruler and cut off the lower lip like so. Sometimes you get these little tags at the end. There we go. So there, now we have our counter edge that we can get ready to glue in place. Well, once we get the rest of it assembled. So now, like I said, I'm going to leave a little bit of a tab along the edge here to cut on both sides. So I'll make it about that big. I don't want too much. So that's where I would make my cut on both sides. But because it's kind of narrow, again, I will leave excess on both sides so I can bend it and then cut it later to size. So what we'll do is I'm going to make a cut along here right now. Okay, because this gives me enough meat to make my bend, so I'll continue that down past there. There we go. And I'll make another bent cut through here to separate this tab and this tab once I create them. Just like that. And we'll do the same over here. There we go. Now, since we can use a tab on the top edge here, this is just the sign board that goes on the back wall over here. So this one sits as an overlay to get a relief here. What I think I might do is print another copy of this sheet and cut out these two vents, and then so I'll lay this whole sign on top of this sign, then take these vents and lay it on top of that again to give the sign some relief from the wall and the vents some relief from the sign. The goal that I would like to see is maybe see if I can come up with a way to illuminate this sign, not positive on that. the outside sign I'm going to change and make it into the pizza shop sign, so that there will be illuminated. This piece here is a frame, the overlay to go on top of this, and then this again is an overlay to goes over the sign, I believe. So that would give it a little bit of relief on the outside. If you want to get super detailed, you could print a second copy of the interior and then cut out the door here and then put the second copy of the door on the inside to give it a little inset into the wall. And you can use multiple layers, like if you just cut out a piece of the frame here and glued it behind, then glued a door that you cut out here to here and here behind that would give it even more depth. It depends upon what you're doing. Since this is an interior detail, it'd be very hard to see. I'm not going to do that for this, but that's part of the tricks of building these cardstock models, is that by printing extra copies and layering them up, you give it really great depth and detail to make it look pretty much like any plastic or wood kit. So let's make a little cut. We're going to go by this sign here. Okay. Now I'll just take that up from there. So now we can work with just this piece here. So here's my tab for the bottom fold. These are not that critical, so they can be cut by hand. Okay. Long straight cuts, it's just easy to use the ruler rather than try and freehand it, even though for a tab like this it's not critical. There we go. So now we have our bottom tab. See, this is wide enough here that I can make the fold on the other side. So alright, so let's do our little cutouts here. And they're going to go from the top down to the bottom, because this fold here, this goes across the bottom, is strictly to support the shelf. So let's go right to here. Oops. There we go. And now just going very gently, make that cut there. Same here. I'll try and line it up to approximately the same width over here. There we go. This is a great fun way to build buildings, and sometimes like these could be stand-ins for other buildings that you may not get to. There might be a long time away that, just a what if see, or you could leave them in place. There's nothing wrong with that. I see this step in the countertop. See if I get a little teeny. You can clean up these corners sometimes. That's going to go through here. So the step is going to stick to the cardboard this far. So we want to leave a little bit less than that as a gluing surface. We get a little mark there. Now again, this is a hidden tab, so you don't have to be as accurate with it. There we go. So that's all my tab here is cut out. My tab on the sides are cut out, the top and bottom. So now if we cut across here, we can take this piece out. There you can see how these are a little bit fragile when they get thin like that. So you got to be careful. Alright, so I'm just going to cut there for the side tab. Okay, and then I'll make another cut. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Top tab. Sometimes you want to put a little angle on them. What that does is gives them relief from getting pinched up in a corner. There we go. Alright, so this tab here will get bent down, not up. Same with this one, down, down. So just there again, so we don't have any issues with interference. We'll do this. So now we can cut this tab that we've created to its final width. And if you think it's going to be visible after you folded it, you can cut it. I may cut these smaller when I'm done. Because once I fold it, I'll mock it up inside and see if I can actually see it, you know. There we go. There again, let's do a little angle cut to give us some relief, like if we don't want to hit the floor there. And you'll notice that on the tabs on the pieces that already have tabs, this is what you'll see, is the little diagonal cuts like that. Come out of here, little piece, there we go. All right. So now we're going to flip this over and make some more fold lines on the back. So we already have our two cuts there, so we can just, remember, use the back side of the blade to make your strokes with. Alright, so that's for these 3 tabs. Then we'll have to do the side tabs here, so let's do that next. So this is a good point to line up on here, and then we line up on the corner there, because you see there's a little relief here. Right to that point there. Now you see I went a little crooked at the end there, so I want to straighten that up. There we go. Alright. Sometimes you get a little fuzz pop up, so you want to get the edge of your blade. Just smooth that out a little bit. And then let's go do this spot here. There we go. Now we'll do our bottom here. That one, and now we'll do the top, which we just got to make sure where we're at, right there and there. See, didn't pay attention. Got to hold it tight against the ruler. There we go. So now all of our tabs are cut, all the backs are cut for making the bends. So what we'll do is we'll start making some bends now. Lift up with a knife and then try and use your blade like this and tilt it up and work your blade long like that. And then you can. So now this gives us a nice good gluing surface to put our counter into. There's the counter here. So as you can see now our counter will slide right inside of there once we bend these side pieces out the way. So let's do that next. So you can lay this back down while we're doing the side pieces. That. Alright, so let's see what our counter looks like in there now. This way you can test it for fit and such. See, it's a little tight, so we might need to change the cut a little bit. But actually, it went in there pretty good. So there's our counter shelf in there. So that'll work nice, and then we'll just glue it to this surface when we're ready. Get that back out of the way. All right. So that's next. We'll fold up the tab here. So we'll fold this back down for now. I'm right-handed, I should be working the other direction. There we go. Fold that tab up nicely. And let's do the tab at the top here now. Said I will probably cut these tabs a little smaller, that way you won't see them through the opening in the counter here. This one. I'm able to do this. There we go, that's a little bit better. Because it can distort the frame a little bit if you're not careful with these bends. So that's why the more material you have on your bend, the better. There we go. So now let's put the other folds back into place the way they belong. Then we can fold these very gently because you only have a thin piece of material there. So it wouldn't even be a bad idea to measure in here and put like a thin piece of styrene for support from here down, you know. Sure, it couldn't hurt. Or even a small piece of wood, something just to give it some stiffness. Alright, so it's looking really good. And then the last fold is an upward fold along this line, so it's folding up. So we will put our knife there, that's the marker spot. And then lift our whole piece up here. There we go. So now we have that piece pretty much all cut out, ready to install once we I may go find some material to put, like I said, inside of here, give it some strength. Go to find something in the stock room downstairs. And then once we cut the walls out and do our other work, this will be ready to install. So let's lay that aside along with our counter. Put that over there. Now the exterior sign I'll work on later because I have to redo the graphic to put the pizza shop on it. Same with the part of it I have to do, and I can just edit the graphic here because this says Vienna beef, aka the beef for the hot dog. So I might just cut that out and leave that as a glass, or put another graphic in there that I can cut out and just overlay, or I can actually edit these files because they're PDFs. I can take them into Photoshop and change this graphic and reprint this whole piece. So I've done that before, put different logos and stuff on the walls. So I'll worry about working on the signage and stuff later. So next step here will be, let's cut out the walls of the interior. There we go. This one's a little bit of eyeball judgment because there's not a very good spot mark there on the other side to cut with. There we go. See, I overshot a little bit there. Probably time for a new blade. Yeah, looks like it's time for a new blade, folks. Okay, folks, I've taken a break, went and changed out my blade, and I finished cutting out the floor and wall here. Folded everything up nicely. So this is what you'll see as the interior compartment, and then the little wall here goes in like such, and that tab a little bit more, bend that back some more. Sometimes it's really hard to hold these into a mock-up. That's a rough idea what it's going to look like. And then this whole assembly will go inside the walls here and to the front. And there's the interior view there. So next episode we'll work on finishing up with this. I got to go back to the computer and work on the signage and print out the extra pieces. So I won't get back to where I can use the laser printer until next week. So I'll take care of those parts of the week, and I'll work on my signage soon. And then hopefully we'll have episode 3 showing you put together the whole interior here. After that we'll work on the front wall here. Then we'll continue on to the roof details and the roofing. I have to make up my mind whether I want to have the raised roof or flat roof, or the depressed roof. So we'll see. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for episode 3 of the pizza shop build. This is Barry from Barry's Bench. Take it easy.